If you're looking for a key light for your content that's good quality, versatile, and won't break the bank, then this LED light right here might be just what you're looking for. This is the Moleus G200 200 watt CRB LED light by Zhiyun, and today I'm going to review it to help you decide if it's the right light for you to get for your content. Now for context, I've been using an Aputure 120D Mark II for almost 3 years now, which I've loved, but it's actually amazed me how much the LED light industry has actually progressed in that short amount of time. So today I'm going to go through the unboxing and the features of the G200. I'm going to talk about the build quality of this light, and then I'm going to talk about what it's like to actually use it on a day-to-day basis. And then finally, I'll share some of my favorite things about this light and then things you should be aware of to watch out for. So let's start out with the unboxing. Alright, so the first thing you'll notice is that the Moleus comes in a really nice cardboard box, really well packaged. And then inside that, you've got this really nice carry case. It's actually a really high quality carry case. Very impressed with it. Open that up, and the first thing is you've got a standard reflector, which is a Bowens mount, so plug right into the light. Then you've got the power adapter with the included cable. You've also got a power cable. This is the US, but I'll talk more about that later. And then of course you've got the light itself. Now, just by standard, this doesn't come with a softbox. I already had a softbox that I'm using with it, but if you want to get a Zhiyun softbox, they are available as well. So that's everything that's included with the G200. Now let's talk a bit about the actual features of this light. Now, like I mentioned, this is a 200 watt CRB LED light, and it goes up to 200 watts in the standard mode, but it also has a pretty crazy 300 watt mode, which is super bright. And the level of output you can get from this small light honestly blew me away. I was super impressed. Comparing it to my previous 120D, which is admittedly quite a bit older, but the G200 is clearly brighter in the standard mode and then just blows the 120D out of the water in the 300 watt mode. It just gives you so many more options if you've got a broader range of brightness in your key light. Now, like you saw in the unboxing, it comes in two separate parts, but the two parts combined only weigh 1.94 kilos or 4.27 pounds, which is lighter than my entire softbox that it's attached to, which is pretty amazing. On the control box, you can adjust the brightness and the color temperature with the two dials, as well as being able to put it into the 300 watt super bright mode if you just hold the two knobs down. And you can also jump between presets by just clicking on the brightness or the color temp dials. And speaking of color temp, this light is bicolor with a range of 2700 Kelvin on the warm end, all the way up to 6500 Kelvin at the cool end. And again, it's just great because it gives you so many more options with what you can do with the light. My previous light was just a fixed color and that was great, it did the job, but this just opens up so many new options with what I could do creatively with this light. Now the light has a Bowens mount, which is perfect because it means it works with pretty much all types of light modifiers, including ones you might already own. And for me, I was able to attach it to my existing softbox, which is perfect. So the question arises, is something that's this small and lightweight really that good in terms of build quality? Now overall, I have to say up front, I am very impressed with the overall build quality of the G200. For the price, I would say it meets my expectations. I wouldn't say it necessarily exceeds them or dips below them, but it meets my expectations. Now the main components are made of sturdy plastic. Apart from the head where you attach the light to something like a C-stand, this is made of metal, and then the inbuilt heatsink inside the light itself is also made of metal, which I think is really good because the attachment is definitely a high pressure point in terms of having to support the entire light and any light modifiers, so it's good I think that it's made of metal, and of course it makes sense that the heatsink is made of metal as well. Now like I mentioned, the rest of the components are mainly made of sturdy plastic. It's definitely a high quality plastic and it looks really nice. They've even designed it to basically look like it's metallic, and the obvious advantage of this is that it reduces the overall weight of the whole system. And I would say it still feels and looks really premium. It doesn't look cheap. I think my only complaints when it comes to the build quality was the on-off switch and the tightening screws on the head mount. They feel a tiny bit on the cheap side, but I'm kind of nitpicking here because they feel very secure and they're not going to break or anything, but I'll talk a bit more about that towards the end of the video. Now, arguably the more important thing is the actual quality of the light, and as you can see, this is the light on 100% set to 5600 Kelvin, and in my opinion it's excellent light quality. Like, it looks as you would expect. I haven't noticed any weird tints or flickers or anything like that. I would say it's easily as good as my previous Aputure 120D in terms of light quality, and I found this applies whether you're putting it on the warmer end of the color spectrum or on the cooler end. So 2 thumbs up for me in terms of light quality. You really can't go wrong. So it's got good build quality overall, it's got great light quality, but is it actually easy to use? Is it easy to set up, especially on a regular basis? Now, in terms of my use case, I usually use a key light for two things. The first is shooting A-roll content like this, and I do that probably twice a week. And then I also use it to shoot B-roll content, so to light things like products or unboxing videos, that type of thing. And the first thing that I noticed with this light was the compact size really gave me quite a bit more space in my small studio. Now again, my old 120D is relatively bulky, especially when compared to the G200, and just having that smaller form factor attached to my softbox meant I could actually push my softbox a bit higher towards the ceiling, and then when I'm not using it, I can actually move it out of the way a bit more easily. So it's given me more space. Then the second main thing is that it's actually easier to move around even when it's attached to the C-stand. And again, this is just due to the fact that it's more lightweight. So if I want to film some content on my other desk, for example, or I want the light to be set on a different angle, I'm finding the G200 a lot more easily to maneuver around my office space because it's compact and more lightweight. Now in terms of the dials, they're super easy to use. They feel really good, have no problems with them whatsoever. And I'm also a big fan of the ZY Vega app, which lets you connect via Bluetooth to your smartphone. And on there, you can control all of the different settings, including color temp and brightness, which again, just makes it a lot easier when I'm sitting back from my light and my camera in a situation like this. If I want to adjust any of the settings, I can just open my phone and do it via my smartphone. The app doesn't take too long to connect, which is a big pro in my book, and it's really straightforward to use. And then lastly, the fan has been overall pretty quiet, I would say. I mean, currently, like I said, I've got it set to 100%, and the fan I can hear from within the room, but it's really not being picked up by my mic in a major way, which means I can really comfortably use this light in situations where I would typically be worried about background noise. The only exception is when you set the light to the 300 watt mode, the fan then does kick into overdrive, which is understandable because it's so much brighter. It really does need to keep the light cool, but I really can't imagine a situation where I would need to use the 300 watt mode, where I'd be filming with a microphone indoors in a quiet environment. The regular 200 watt mode will be more than enough for that type of thing. Now, if you do want to know how I've set up the lighting in my studio to get this look that you're currently seeing, then I've created a free bonus video that you can access using the link in the description, which shows you step by step how I set up this type of lighting and how you can replicate it yourself for your own YouTube videos, your own content. So make sure you check that out below. Now I just want to talk about some of my favorite things about the G200, and then I'll share some things that you should probably be aware of if you are looking at purchasing it. And I've kind of already said it, but the first thing I really like about this is the compact size. I've been so impressed with a light that gets this bright, that's bicolor, that's also so compact. Compared to all the different types of lights that I've used in the past, this is easily the most compact in terms of the quality of the light and the brightness. It's so much better for my tiny YouTube studio, and also means if I ever do want to take it out for location shoots, it's a lot smaller and more compact, especially when you put it into the small carry case. It's a really nice size for putting in your car and traveling with. Following on from that, I really love how bright it gets for the size, and the bicolor ability is just such a nice bonus. And then lastly, I've been really impressed with the price. For the size, quality, and the brightness, I think it's a really good buy, and I would definitely recommend it to anyone who's looking to get a key light for their content and they don't want something that's sort of beginner or low quality. If you're looking for something that's high quality and is pro level, then this I think is a great buy. However, there are three things that I did notice that I didn't like as much that are worth being aware of. The first is that the mounting head can be a little bit tedious to get to the right position, especially when it's got a heavy softbox attached to it. And this is due to the fact that it's basically on a kind of stepping system with how the light angles. And I think I can understand why they've designed it like this. It basically gives the light extra strength rather than just relying on the screw tightener. But it just would be nice if it was a little smoother and a little bit easier to tighten. The next thing is I did find it a little bit tight to attach the softbox that I've got onto the Bowens mount, and it wasn't a huge problem. I was able to get it on there, and it could just be my unit, so you might have a totally different experience to me, but that was something that I did notice as soon as I went to attach it to my existing softbox. And lastly, the power cable that came in the box had a North American adapter, and I'm in Australia, so I can't plug that into my wall. Luckily, I had another cable that was able to plug into the power unit, and I'm not sure if that's standard, but I think it's just worth noting if you're in a different continent outside of North America. If you're worried, you can double check with Xiaoyun yourself or just buy an adapter. It's not a big problem to overcome, but just something worth noting. So overall, this is an excellent light that I would definitely recommend to any YouTubers or content creators looking to upgrade their lighting equipment. It's bright enough to handle anything you want to throw at it. It's solid quality and I think it would last quite a while. It's bicolor and it's compact enough to give you heaps of versatility. So I really do think you'd be happy if you picked this bad boy up. Now, if you'd like to learn more about lighting your videos like all the pro YouTubers do, then check out this video here where I go through step by step how you can replicate that exact look.